All right, today we're installing the Maintebikes 6-Piston hydraulic disc brakes on the Freego X2 Pro. All right, we got Sully in the shed.
Sully in the shed.
So this company, Maintebikes, reached out to us and they told us that they have a 6-piston brake that might be interesting to review. And we thought it would be perfect for the Freego X2 Pro. Now we did install aftermarket brakes on the Freego. We have the Magura MT5.
They've been around, we know they work. They're relatively inexpensive and the pads are really cheap and last pretty good for mountain bike brakes. So
the brakes have been fine so far.
They're plenty for this bike. I don't know, we're always open to alternative braking options. So
let's see what's in the box.
So we got rotors, which are pretty thick. I would say they're definitely not your average 2.3 mil thickness. I'd say they got to be at least 2.8.
We may already have these on the Freego.
Yeah, they're definitely the same thickness as what's on the bike now, but
if you didn't have it.
If you don't have it, you got it now. They also included a couple brake adapters and a ton of hardware.
Definitely what we had to do for the Freego X2 Pro. You could see the adapters for the rear, and I think we had to change the front. I can't remember. It looks like everything comes in the kit.
And then we got all the brakes.
There's a few options to order the kit. You could get them pre-bled, or you could bleed them yourself and cut the hoses. The Freego X2 Pro, like the frame, is pretty easy to run lines through, so it wasn't really necessary to cut the hose and do all the bleeding ourselves. Save some time. And you know, when you have a frame like this, it's not a big deal. Like, the brake line basically runs down here, so it's not in the way or anything.
Off rip, here's the master. This is the right. I mean, it looks just like a generic master. It comes with the sensor on it. I can already see the nice blue through the bag here. Oh yeah, would you look at that? Ooh. Yeah, very pretty.
Machining looks good.
Yeah, I like the little texture on there. So as you can see, the pistons on the Magura are like the one here. This has two smaller pistons.
How will this compare to the Maguras that we have on there right now? 4-piston versus 6-piston.
Well, I'm hopeful they'll be better, but you never know till you try. I'm all for it. Like I said, I'm all here to try out whatever.
In terms of hardware, I think we have all the hardware, right?
We definitely have all the hardware, and if we don't have the hardware, they definitely included it.
All right, so cool. Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it, man.
All right, the Maintebikes 6-piston hydraulic brakes have been installed on the Freego X2 Pro. Pretty straightforward, but a couple of things that we had to figure out on our own.
We had to space this out a little bit to get it to sit properly. The bottom of this piston was hitting the bracket, so we just added some spacers there, and now it fits how it's supposed to. It's pretty dang close. So what you're looking for is to get as much of the pad surface area on the rotor. As you can see before, the Magura wasn't fully on touching the rotor, so now it should have a better contact, so it's spaced out properly now. So moving into the back over here, the one that is included with the kit is actually the same as this here. The only thing that we changed is we had this back spaced. For the Magura, it needed 2 spacers. We took one of the spacers out, so now there's just 1 spacer. That's all the back spacing needed for this one. As you can see, it's a very tight fit with this the big piston on the back there, but it does fit and it does clear. Yeah, and then routing it through the frame, we had to undo this piece here, route it just basically through the top and out the bottom.
We were able to fit the caliper through this little gap here on the fork, so we didn't have to remove the stem or anything like that.
Before anyone says something, yes, we have the right on the left and the left on the right. Little bit of miscommunication. We put the rear to be longer than the front, obviously. So it was 76 inches in the rear and 50 for the front, and 50 for the front, but they did that mountain bike style. So they're flip-flopped, so we did have to switch them up. No big deal. I mean, they still work the same, but we did have to flip them upside down. So just remember, they do it mountain bike style. I adjusted the screw already so that they bite where I want them. They don't hit your knuckle, but we haven't rode them yet, so we have to let them get warm and stuff and bed the pads in and really give them the proper opportunity to do their best.
Without further ado, let's try them out.
Yeah, let's give it a go here.
The Maintebikes MT6 calipers are made from machined aluminum and anodized blue. Not subtle, but clean and aggressive. The finish looks durable enough for harsh weather and regular abuse. The levers are large, and the control feels smooth right out of the box. The brake set includes 203mm rotors, all the necessary hardware, and integrated motor cutoff sensors. Also ideal if you want your taillight to sync with brake input. The hose lengths are customizable and can be pre-bled for your specific bike, which is a nice touch and saves time. But the default is MTB style. Left lever for front, right for rear. If you run a moto setup, like many stunt riders do, you'll want to double check with the company since that swap isn't clearly listed on their site. The enlarged fluid reservoir is a subtle design feature that makes sense for riders putting in long or high load sessions. More fluid means less heat and more consistency over time. The selling point here is clear: 6 pistons per caliper. More pistons don't always mean more braking power, but in theory they offer smoother and more consistent clamping with better heat dissipation. Compared to a standard 2 or 4 piston setup, braking is firm, progressive, and noticeably confidence-inspiring, especially for wheelies. It's also helpful when you're hauling extra gear or a second passenger and need better modulation without maxing out your grip strength. That said, if you're upgrading from Maguras or a similar premium 4-piston system, the leap in performance isn't as dramatic. There's a diminishing return once you're already using high-end brakes, and most of what you'll gain here comes down to feel and preference. We haven't done a full test with sintered pads, mainly because it's not entirely clear what brake pad models are compatible. The stock pads work fine, but if you're the type who likes to get next-day replacement brake pads on Amazon, this might be a bottleneck. Also, this is one of the more plug-and-play systems we've worked with. It fits most e-bike frames thanks to the included mounting hardware and custom hose options. Having pre-bled lines for your exact frame is a huge time saver.
So we're here with the Maintebikes 6-piston brakes. We're gonna give them a try, see how we like them, give them our honest opinion here. Yeah, so there should be bed in. We rode it a little bit normally on the way here. It's only right to start with just the normal brake test. I'm gonna get some speed across the lot and try to come to a stop as quickly as I can. So we'll do like a 25 mile an hour to a stop, simulating, you know, just normal traffic braking here, maybe a little bit faster, maybe 30 if I can hit that. Yeah, so definitely locks them up. The front could hit a little bit harder, but maybe I can just adjust it a little bit more and get some more out of it. But we didn't adjust them at all. This is how they came out the box. So what's the next test that we could do? I guess let's just hop right into the wheelies. Let's just start with our feet down and make sure that they hit. Yeah, okay, so they're hitting. Let's go to one finger now that we trust them. So yeah, I mean, it's a very firm lever compared to the Magura. The Magura is a little bit softer and you feel like you can modulate it a bit more. This one just kind of feels like you're pulling it and it's dragging. And then if you really pull it, then it actually locks up. It's like dragging, then locks up. It's weird. I mean, it's just different. Something to get used to. They definitely don't hit as hard as the Maguras, but these are their factory pads. The Maguras, we had upgraded pads in there, so they are a little bit more bitey. Let's try a knee knock. The modulation feels okay. It's, like I said, it's just a really stiff master, which I'm not really used to. I'm used to ones that are have a little bit more play in them. But here, let's try a seat stander now. Other than that rear shock bottoming out. Yeah, the brakes, they work good. Like I said, they're definitely not hitting as hard as the Maguras, but again, we had upgraded pads in that. They're not just like how they came out the box. So let's try a stoppie here. I don't think it's gonna happen. I don't think the brake has enough in it to do a stoppie. No, it's definitely not enough. It's going straight to my knuckle. We'll have to adjust this out more, and I'm sure it'll hit a lot better.
All right, so we'll get right into it. Levers feel good, although the right feels a little soft for me. It's gripping, it's biting. Maybe not exactly as strong as the Maguras. I think it's good enough to stop the bike for sure. You just have to modulate the levers a little bit more. You have to pull it down a little bit harder, in my opinion. Definitely locks the wheel up. Yeah. So far, so good. It's a little more subtle than the Maguras, that's what I'll say. I would say it's an upgrade from the stock Freego brakes. We didn't really have much luck with the stock Freego brakes, so this is definitely an upgrade from that. I will try a brake test from far away. Oh, it stopped the bike. But this bike definitely has a lot of power when you are at full speed. Sully did the balance test, but I could try my little feet down wheelies here. Yeah, the brakes are, I mean, I'm not really hitting them because this thing is so well balanced, but I feel like I'm usually with the Maguras, if I tap them, they just bring me all the way down. I'm not the best at modulating the brakes, so at least here I have a little bit more latitude with, like, when I hit the brakes, when I tap it, I'm not like getting thrown to the ground. It's like I can kind of like hold on to it a little bit. I know you're not supposed to do that, but you know, if you're learning how to wheelie, you can kind of like drag the brakes a little bit. But yeah, I definitely have a lot of confidence with these brakes. Yeah, they're different, right? They're not like the Maguras, they're a little bit different, but I bet with sintered pads, I think it would bite as hard, if not more than the Maguras, because they're 6-piston, but the difference is really nominal, you know? If we still had the stock brakes on, I would say that this upgrade is for sure you know, a recommend. But if you're coming from Maguras, it's not that drastic of a difference. It feels a little bit different, just a different feel, but I think you're getting somewhat of the same result. Like the bike stops, right?
So here's what we like. The MT6 system from Maintebikes is a legit upgrade for most e-bike riders, especially those moving up from basic 2-piston setups or using heavier bikes with higher power output. For stunt riding, off-road trails, or any scenario where you're working the brakes hard, the 6-pistons bring a welcome sense of control. But here's some things to consider. For those already running high-end hydraulic brakes like Maguras, you might not feel night and day gains unless you're pushing your bike in extreme conditions. And if you're sensitive about lever setup or want to swap brake pads frequently, the MT6 may not be the best option. For now, though, it's a strong contender in a space that often overlooks braking in favor of speed. So is the Maintebikes 6-piston brake system strong enough for your ride? Or do you want more? Let us know in the comments below, and we'll see you guys in the next video.